The opinions of Lincolnshire are pretty much standard, especially from those who have never even set foot in the county. It's all flat, isn't it? Isn't it all farming? I've never had a reason to go. And yes, those statements do have a small amount of credibility to them, but do they paint the real picture? Absolutely not. In fact, you'll find they only just scratch the surface. Birth of America. So not a lot happens here. Well, what if I told you it's pretty much where the story of the United States of America began? Queen Elizabeth I was on the throne, and Protestant non-conforming religious beliefs were rife in England. A small group of separatists and Puritans from Gainsborough in Lincolnshire and Scrooby in Nottinghamshire had come to believe their Christian faith was now incompatible to the Church of England. In 1596, the hall was sold to a William Hickman, who supported the separatists and allowed them to worship here in secrecy. Disenchanted with the current way of preaching, their alternative practices were soon becoming common knowledge, and so a clampdown had begun on these gatherings. The separatists were vilified and treated as traitors, so in 1607 they decided to flee to Holland to escape persecution and pursue their religious beliefs more freely. 2 boats would be waiting for the groups at the town of Boston behind me. From there, they would travel along this river and across the North Sea. Although the Gainsborough crew were successful, the Scrooby separatists were not quite so fortunate. In fact, they were betrayed by their ship's captain right here at Scotia Creek, just a few miles downriver, and arrested. A memorial stands to reflect on and mark the events. Soon after their capture, they were imprisoned in the cells at Boston Guildhall. Later released, they would return to Scrooby penniless. After being released from the Guildhall, the Scrooby group would make a second attempt to cross, this time further up the coast here in Immingham. This would prove to be successful, as detailed in a further memorial. After several peaceful years in Holland, they decided to sail for the New World in search of a better life. Sailing from Plymouth on the 16th of September 1620, they would ultimately reach Massachusetts after an arduous 2-month voyage. Eventually, they would be known as the Pilgrim Fathers. In 1630, a further group of Lincolnshire Puritans left Boston for America, founding a new settlement in Massachusetts. They would name it after their hometown. They were led by the Reverend John Cotton, vicar of St. Botolph's in Boston, and a man who would become spiritual leader of the church-dominated state. The people of Boston, Massachusetts would later play a key role in the nation's history with their Tea Party protest. The first steps to a Declaration of Independence in 1776. Meanwhile, Boston, England pays its own homage, befitting of its fundamental history with America. Now, when you hear the name Captain John Smith, some people may relate it to a certain Pocahontas. But as we explore his birthplace, the truth is, there's a lot more to him. Captain John Smith was born and baptised here in Willoughby near Alford in 1580. And in the local church there are various references to his life. He would go on to play a crucial role in establishing and training the very first English settlement in Jamestown, Virginia, USA, where he would later go on to become governor. Connections between the village of Willoughby and the state of Virginia remain strong. Now, in addition, his exploration of the Chesapeake Bay area allowed him to successfully map the coast, a coast to which he would later name as New England. It would be his voyage that would map it clearly and identify it first as a continent. He would also give it the name as we know it today, Australia. And at the time, it was the world's longest single-span suspension bridge. This event was the first rock festival in the world, showcasing up-and-coming act Jimi Hendrix in the Tulip Auction Room. In 2013, the town was voted the best place to live in Britain by the Sunday Times. Due to its flatness, Lincolnshire was able to amass over 100 airfields, more than any other place in the country.